So yeah, right here I braided my boyfriend's hair. I pretty much keep him up to date on the styles or whatever, so he let me do anything. I'm gonna show y'all how I did anything on his head, and if you're interested in doing anything, here y'all go. So I'm starting off with clean hair. I had my boyfriend wash his hair a couple days ago, and I'm oiling it with a concoction that I made, and hopefully we'll be selling soon. You see me parting his hair off because I'm gonna attempt to blow dry this nappy mess out, but instead of just going in with the blow dryer, I had to brush it a little bit because I didn't want him in tears when I blow dried this. Now, I tend to separate each section as I go and blow dry small sections, but if you are a person that can blow dry the entire head, I gotta give it to you. But depending on the thickness of somebody's hair, I blow dry this way, and I brush each section before I go through with the blow dryer so that I'm not just ripping somebody's hair out of their head. Now, his face might change throughout this video while I'm blow drying it because it still was a little tough trying to get through it. But all in all, we did it. Off camera, I had already blow dried the other half of his head. So once I'm through blow drying this half of his head, I'm going to go on to the next step. In order for you to have a clean part, you're going to have to keep going over it. So part the hair, keep going over it, take your time, but the best thing you can have is a clean part. I'm also adding gel as I part just because I have to add gel anyway, and it's easier to do it while I'm parting. Adding some gel to the other side too. And instead of just letting it sit on there, I go back in with my brush it through so the hair is saturated even. A big part of braiding is making sure all of the hair has product on it. You want everything to do the same thing. You don't want just nappy spots or kinky areas that don't look as slick as other areas. You see me braiding. If you do not know how to braid, this will not be the tutorial for you. I will not be talking about how I'm braiding because that's like a how to braid tutorial. And if you don't know how to braid, you will not be able to achieve this until you at least learn how to braid. One thing about my braiding is I do braid backwards. So if you're looking at my braids, you're like, oh my God, how did she just braid like that? I don't know. I really don't know. I just kind of taught myself how to braid, and that's what I came up with, and it got the job done. So, you know, I can't complain. You see me taking the same steps that I took in order to get the braid that we just completed. I'm trying to get the perfect part, about to go in with some gel just to have a clean braid. So you're going to do that on both sides. Go in with the gel or the oil, just have a clean braid. Now, you don't see me adding too much oil throughout his head, only because once I oiled his head, I did blow dry it. And blow drying the oil in kind of makes it lighter. But it all depends on the style that you are trying to achieve. Now, if you're looking at his head like, why is she leaving these edges out? Why is she slicking these down? I am slicking these down because after I finish his hair, he is going to be getting a haircut. And I want him to have like that hairline that you're supposed to have with these braids. If you don't have a hairline with these braids, I don't understand. It's really up to you what you want to do, but I know how I would want it on my head, so I tend to do other people's hair as if I was doing my hair. Right here, I started off braiding, but I ended up not really too much caring for this braid, so I took it down, combed it out, and just restarted the same braid. So you see me starting off in the front, and yes, I'm standing in front of my boyfriend's head because that is the way that I braid. If you braid like this, please comment below. I have not met anybody else who braids like me, so I would love to meet somebody that does braid like me. So what I'm doing right now is literally the same thing that I did on the other side. I parted it off, put in gel on both sides, brushed the gel through. I'm not certain why I didn't do it on camera, but I did brush the gel through. And I'm about to go through it with the comb, secure the slickness, and start braiding. I cannot stress this enough. Part the hair neat and crisp. You don't want nobody playing on your head, so don't play on nobody else's head. Use the right combs to part. Use the gel once you have completed parting. And even if the part is a little off, go back through until you get the hair right. Finally, I feel like I got the perfect part. So you see me still going through it to make sure it's more perfect, but all in all, I'm satisfied. So I start with the gel, going back through, gonna brush it. On each side you need gel, so please do not forget that step. It's not a one-sided thing. Put gel on both sides. Part your edges out before you braid because you don't want to pull on the braids, end up pulling hair out of the braid, and your braid starts getting tacky and just looking different. So make sure you part that hair before, and that's the hair that the barber is going to end up cutting. So I'm starting to braid. I'm braiding in the front. Looking at myself braid, I do braid weird, but I'm telling y'all, I get the job done. So I continue to do it the way that I do it, and it works. Off camera, I gelled both sides and brushed it through just because I've done the same step for the last 4 braids, so I figured that I could speed the process up, speed the video up, and get to the point. So now that I'm done braiding, I'm going back through, making sure everything's intact and adding the foam.